Welcome back to Sunday Vibes, one and all. This week's episode of Sunday Vibes is brought to you by our good friends at Fan Team, who are running a quite frankly ridiculous £1 million fantasy football league. £1 million. The winner takes home £200,000. It's £20 to enter. I cannot believe how much money this is. And if you want to sign up, you can use the link in the description below. Of course, you do have to be 18 plus. Terms and conditions do apply. It's also worth noting that on Twitter at the moment, Fan Team are running a core 4. So you basically submit your sort of spine of the team and they'll let you enter for free if you're selected. Who's your core 4? You gone for a core 4 yet?
Did it just before this episode. I've gone quite Liverpool-centric. Gone Martinez and then Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think he's going to have a sensational season. Started to bounce back towards the end of last campaign, didn't he? And then Diogo Jota counts as a midfielder, inexplicably.
Value.
9 goals in 12 appearances for him last term. I think he's going to usurp Firmino in that number 9 position. He clocks 4-3-3. And then I've gone for Danny Ings, because why not? That transfer came out of nowhere. It was like back in the day, seeing them on CFAX just magically appear. But what I will say is, Mason Mount, very cheap. If you wanted to go for it, Zach, 7 mil.
Don't tell Zach that.
Don't tell
Zach. You can only have a limited number of players from one team. Zach. You can't just have the Chelsea 11. Anyway, yeah, like I said, if you wanted to get involved, hit the link in the description below and sign up. Right, let's crack on with the show then. Noobmaster69 submitted this one.
What's her name?
Predictions for the Premier League this season, gents. This is the episode.
Always a good episode, this.
This is one of my favourite
Well, in
episodes
a year's
of the
time, Joe rips into us on what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. So, future Joe, hello there on We Need to Talk. Let's start then with the European places.
Ooh.
Okay.
Who wants to go first and kick us off? Should we start at the top or should we start?
I think our top is going to be the same.
What I think we do is, top 4 then, that Europa League spot, of course, only one Europa League spot in terms of league standings this season. The winner of the FA Cup also gets one. And then should we do UEFA Conference League places as well?
That competition is so pony. Yesterday, they drew in biro on the back of a shirt, numbers, because you have to have shirt numbers, and the team turned up, but they didn't know.
Well, the winner of the Carabao Cup gets that place.
No joke.
I don't think it's even awarded in terms of league standings either. So yeah, let's work our way through the European places, and then we've got some other categories coming up, haven't we? I think we go 4th upwards then, and we'll take care of the rest later. So who have you guys got for the final Champions League berth?
Okay.
I will go for Liverpool here. I think Liverpool's squad is still fantastic, especially that Virgil van Dijk's back, Joe Gomez is back, obviously signing Konate as well. Konate from Manchester. Yeah, exactly.
Nailed it.
And obviously Trent Alexander-Arnold once he's fully fit as well. The front 3 is still brilliant. Mohamed Salah's going to have a fantastic season as he always does. And obviously Diogo Jota as well coming back, I think he's going to help boost their attack. But with no major signings like the other 3 that we will mention, I just think they're going to struggle keeping up. I think they'll do well, and I think they're solid. I think it's not going to be as 5th and 6th place, maybe battling for 4th, as they were to past 2 previous seasons.
Okay, so easily 4th.
Yeah,
but
easily
you think
4th.
the other 3 have left them behind in the transfer market.
Exactly.
I'm going to jump on this because I agree with Zach. I've actually gone Liverpool in 4th, and I was toying with Man United and Liverpool, so a little bit of a spoiler alert for my 3rd place. But I went for Liverpool in 4th for the reasons Zach stipulated pretty much. I think their midfield is looking a bit threadbare. Gini Wijnaldum featured in every Premier League game last season, started 34 of them. He hasn't been replaced. There's still some ill will towards FSG around not offering Jordan Henderson that new contract. So the atmosphere around the place, not as buoyant as it could be. And obviously got Thiago and Fabinho kind of filling out the rest of that starting 3. Curtis Jones got 1,000 minutes last season. That'll put him in good stead for this season. Harvey Elliott's returning to the club. I think he will contribute off the bench. 18 goal contributions in 31 starts last season. Amazing what he was doing in the Championship at 17. Absolutely sickening. I was a state at 17. So yeah, they've got some good young players, but it was a bit reminiscent of last season. Anything happens to that dream starting 11,
injury.
and yeah, they could tumble again. But 4th. What about you?
Yeah, I've gone Liverpool in 4th.
Yeah,
sweet. Maybe a little bit of bias here showing through, because I actually think that even with United's additions, if you match their starting 11 up with Liverpool's, I still think Liverpool will have a better starting 11 than Manchester United overall. So I think that is going to be extremely close. It was almost a toss of a coin where
close,
I put Manchester United 4th, then I was going United 3rd and Liverpool 4th, and really wasn't sure. But The reason I've gone for Liverpool 4th is I think that despite Virgil van Dijk coming back, I think it is going to probably take 3 months to see full Van Dijk back at full flight, where he's just ripping strikers apart. And I think that 3 months will be catastrophic when trying to chase down a Manchester City and Chelsea axis this season. So I think it's going to be pretty much a toss of the coin between United and Liverpool. But I'll just a bias in me, I'll put Liverpool.
Are we in agreement?
I think our whole the top four is going to be the exact same by the sounds of it, because from the sounds of you guys also hinting that Manchester United is going to be third.
And we agreed to keep this secret from one another, so it'd be spontaneous, so it'd be surprising on camera, and we've pretty much all gone for the same top four. Brilliant.
So we got United third?
I've gone United third.
I think mine's slightly different to your. By the sounds of you guys, you sound tight with Liverpool in fourth. I'm kind of the opposite. I think United will be tight with the top two of Chelsea and Liverpool.
My issue with that is that I think United's squad last season was still markedly worse than City's and Chelsea's, and despite the fact United have signed Varane and Sancho, the teams they're competing with for those league titles, City and Chelsea, have got even better. Like when Lukaku comes through the door,
if it's still an if though, that is
it's a when. He comes through the door, and Koundé comes through the door. Grealish is already through the door at City. It's just still a defensive midfielder has to be included in that team to be able to push up there. I think that midfield pivot is not good enough to
like trying to catch a ghost at the minute, isn't it? You keep catching up with them in terms of like improving the starting 11. I don't think anyone's done as good a job as United so far this summer. Of course, that is the caveat. There is Romelu Lukaku's not signed on for Chelsea yet. Harry Kane's not signed for Manchester City yet. We don't know what's happening with Messi now. Man City, one of the few clubs that can afford him, but it maybe looks like he's going to PSG. But my problem with United, or my only remaining big problem, is that double pivot. That needs upgrading in order for United to become title challengers. And I actually think that Saul Niguez is probably a bit of an underestimated proposition this summer. There's apparently a bit of a tussle going on between Liverpool and Manchester United. None of the fans seem that bothered where he goes, either fan base. But I think he could make a big difference. His defensive output has always been very, very good at Atletico Madrid. I don't think he's ever dropped below 4 tackles and interceptions per match. But what he offers as well that maybe an Ndidi doesn't, who would, by the way, make United title contenders in my opinion.
I agree, totally agree.
He does offer a goal contribution every 5 games, which United could use. I mean, they're not getting that from McTominay. I don't think Fred's place in the team is under any great threat because he's probably better at what he does than Scott McTominay. So I think if Niguez comes in, consolidates top 3, and Ndidi I'd probably change my answer.
Yeah, if Ndidi was there, I would have United competing with that
I
top
think you
two,
are. I think you really are. I think the United defence is fantastic now. Varane and Maguire are really brilliant. Luke Shaw, his season last year, if he improves on this upcoming season, is going to be an absolute lethal down that left wing, especially linking up with whether that is Rashford on the left or eventually when he's back from injury. Or Martial, whoever it be. I do agree that you do need DM, but I think Fred or Scott McTominay, whoever he picks, obviously to join Pogba and Bruno in that midfield, will be okay enough to try and put a challenge in. I think it's going to come to maybe the last couple of weeks of the season where maybe then starts to drop off. But I think throughout the whole season you'll be there.
United have got to start well. That's not been United's consistent problem the last few seasons.
Who are your first 5 games?
Starting off the top of my head. When Leeds opening day. We've got Leeds opening day, but after that I can't think off the top of my head. But we've started really poorly over the last few seasons, especially last year, and that was effectively what kept us towards the back end. So I think if United start well, that's where we'll stand a shot of being in with a challenge. If we start poorly, it's over early.
I think there'll be a lot of people in the comments now saying, what about Van der Beek? People, it looks like they envisage him coming good this season. But I can't see Ole really straying away from a double pivot. A lot of people have said he might play a 4-3-3. I think he'll probably play it. He's quite a conservative manager, isn't he? Everything that I saw last season when I watched United, I know you had some high scoring games, but everything I saw suggests that there's not a guy who's looking to be too tactically fluid. He might, say Sancho hits the ground running, that might kind of change the dynamic a little bit.
It's all about if Varane hits the ground running, then he might go into a single pivot.
Yeah, and that's a very good point. And Rashford coming back into the team as well after that shoulder surgery. What does Paul Pogba do if he's out on the left? When Rashford comes back, so that might facilitate a change. But yeah, I can see you sticking to that 4-2-3-1. But yeah, should we go on to second place?
Let's go on to second place then.
I mean, looking at me, but yeah, it probably is Chelsea for me.
You're going Chelsea as well.
Yeah, the thing is, it's going to be tight, and it is all dependent on Romelu Lukaku. It really, really is. If he joins, I think he's going to hit the ground running. Like Chelsea last year, the fact that we got 4th place and our highest goal scorer was Jorginho on 7. It doesn't make sense in my head how that happens. And if we can get a goal scorer like Lukaku, who's been fantastic at Inter over the past couple of seasons, and he hits the ground running like he has there, I think we'll be in good stead. Obviously, we create so many chances, and we've had Timo Werner last year, who maybe didn't quite finish as many as he should have. And then if bringing him and replacing him with a striker like Lukaku, who is so clinical, it also fits into that mould of a Chelsea striker that we have, a little bit kind of Diego Costa-esque, where he's a bit of a bully. He's happy to kind of lead that front line. He's also willing to. He's not too bad with the ball at his feet as well. My one worry for him is he's going to have to press quite a lot, and that's the one thing that Tuchel needs his strikers to do. Obviously, Werner does that fantastically. Kai Havertz also does that fantastically. I mean, where Kai Havertz ends up playing next year, God knows, because it seemed like he'd finally found his position as the striker, or at least a false 9. And then now we're going to be signing, obviously, Lukaku for 100 mil, if that happens again, touch wood. Because there's a part of me that really just thinks it might fall flat, especially after the Inter Milan fans backlash and the pressure on them.
I don't know. I take great confidence from the fact they've bid for Vlahovic for 50 million euros.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
They don't have that money to play with if they're not planning on selling Romelu Lukaku. I think they're in a bit of a Jack Grealish, Danny Ings situation, like desperate to announce a signing before they say, listen, our talisman is off because we need the money. I mean, what do you think? Say Romelu Lukaku does sign.
Yeah. I genuinely think it comes down to who wins the title comes down to these next 3 weeks. If City get Kane, nailed on title winners, absolutely nobody competes with them. If Chelsea get Lukaku and City don't get Kane, I think Chelsea will win the league.
Good. We've got a different answer.
I think, I do. I know that Pep classically across seasons has proved an ability to bring in a ridiculous amount of points. I think over the last 4 seasons is averaging 93 points in the Premier League. And if City puts up 95 points again, I don't think Chelsea will be able to live with them. However, Romelu Lukaku for me will be such a big difference for Chelsea. If he comes in and hits the ground at the speed he's been playing at Inter, scores 25 league goals, and City don't have a striker to score 20 plus, I think Chelsea will win the league. Classically, league titles have been won by teams that have got a striker scoring 20 plus goals in them, and I think that will be more likely to be Chelsea for Lukaku.
I don't even think that, like, he will make someone like Timo Werner better as well, like he made Lautaro Martinez better. Like, Romelu Lukaku got 11 assists in Serie A last season. He was pretty much, his expected goals and assists meant he was contributing to, or theoretically was contributing to 0.99 I think goals and assists per 90. So you're getting something out of him every single game. Like, he is going to.
And I was his biggest critic in United, but he's going to be ridiculously good.
So
if it's sorry, go on.
The picture I'm just trying to paint is this is the kind of final evolution of Romelu Lukaku, not the Lukaku we saw 2 or 3 years ago. He's so much more polished. I mean, in terms of his defensive work as well, that was much more resolute under Conte in Serie A. And I just think that, I said it on Sky, that Timo Werner could be his Martinez. Like, Timo Werner's exceptional qualities are his movement, the way he drags that back 4 around, how quick he is, how well he can press. And they just seem really simpatico, and it's a combination I'd be very scared of in that 3-5-2.
He is, like, I've said it a couple of times, but he is essentially that final puzzle piece in the Chelsea jigsaw. Definitely. Because you think back to the way Chelsea were playing last year, the amount of kind of balls into the box, whether it's from Reece James, Ben Chilwell, Mason Mount, you name it, Callum Hudson-Odoi, whoever it be. We've never quite had the guy up there to make it work. Tammy's tried, but he sometimes struggles a little bit with his kind of his dominance on the ball. Lukaku does that brilliantly, and so I hope it happens. And for 100 million,
so you're going to say City though, even if you got Lukaku?
Yeah, let's mix it up.
Okay. Even if we got Lukaku, I think it'll be very. I think it'll come down to the last day. Like, it'll be much tighter, and it could swing either way.
Put your neck on the line.
Chelsea. All right, yeah.
All right,
Chelsea.
He's changed his mind.
Chelsea.
He's just changed his mind.
We've given him Romelu Lukaku.
I'm also saying, just because I don't think City are going to get Kane. I think it's pretty much the impossible task now.
I'm still going to go for City just because they've got Grealish. I also think that Gabriel Jesus is underestimated somewhat as a player. Like, he gets panned for not being this cutthroat
he's
player.
actually going to play with
like
Grealish in
Sergio
that
Aguero.
team?
I don't think he's going to go another season with Gundogan as that sort of.
But is that not what Grealish is coming for?
I think Grealish is probably going to be more of an 8, isn't he? In that 4-3-3. Like, Rodri's going to have to do a lot of defensive work next season. I tell you that. He's going to have to play out of his skin.
I think De Bruyne might be playing
But I
up
think
front.
if Gabriel Jesus gets the minutes, this is a guy that's contributed to what, like 71 goals in like 78 starts or something like that, just plucking it out of my head. If he gets the minutes, I think he could secure like 15 league goals, and that's probably enough to give him the title, given the supporting cast.
Okay, so we're all agreement that it's going to be very tight between those two, right?
Yeah. It could very much come down to like 2 points.
I do think as well, like this next 2 weeks of the transfer window are so key in any of these predictions. So future Joe, if you're watching this, bear that in mind, please.
I can almost hear you in 12 months' time when we need to talk saying, Hamill said Gabriel Jesus is going to score 15 new goals, and he was sold in January.
All right, let's do. Should we do fifth place?
Fifth place.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, what teams haven't we mentioned yet? Obviously,
Tottenham.
Arsenal.
To give you some time, I went Leicester.
Okay.
So
I think they're going to miss out on Champions League football once
Again.
more. Yeah.
I've gone Arsenal.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I think Arsenal will have a better season than people thought. Just judging on the back half of last season was actually slightly underrated by Mikel Arteta. I think they picked up about the fourth or fifth highest points tally across the last 6 months of the season. I think the recruitment hasn't been terrible. It hasn't been as bad as people have made out. Ben White is an overspend, yes, but it is an improvement on their current centre-back crop. Really excited by Albert Lokonga in the midfield as well. I think he's definitely going to add something to the team. Whether or not that Partey injury was as bad as its first fit, I'm not too sure. And I think Nicolas Pepe was looking much stronger towards the back end of the season. Bukayo Saka as well, Smith Rowe, new contract, and I'm sure Aubameyang can't go for another season like he did. So I do think I think they're much better off than people were putting them down for. So I'm going to go Arsenal 5th.
I agree. And I'll probably talk about Arsenal in a minute because I've gone for them 6th. But the reason I've gone Leicester, obviously they made good inroads at the start of the window. It remains to be seen whether they're going to add a bit more strength and depth, particularly on that right-hand side. And I was quite disappointed to see Mateus Pereira go out to Qatar with Al Duhail, especially as he cost, was it 15, 20, I think in the end?
A lot of money.
He's on big wages, like life-changing wages. And when you actually read into his story, it's perfectly understandable as to why that would be so appealing to him. But I think Leicester, in order for me to be confident in my prediction, need an upgrade on that right-hand side. Iosa Perez was an absolute disgrace against QPR pre-season. I never like digging players out pre-season because, we've all been there where you're completely blowing out your arse and your embarrassment to yourself and your family. But he was terrible and he's been ineffective the whole of last season, so still not the one for me. Need to upgrade that position. But Samare gives some much-needed depth, particularly at double pivot, an awful lot of pressure on Tielemans last season. How much football did that guy play? It's like him and Pedri playing like over 65 games in a season when you add it all together. And of course, Patson Daka, still a bit of an unknown entity. Like, if he's shit hot when he comes in, and you've got him and Vardy competing for that number 9 spot, that's a very good situation to be in.
That Fofana injury is one of the things that really put in my head.
Yeah.
Could they just drop a space to 6?
It's a very good point. But Leicester didn't have their optimum back 3, back 5 out at any point last season and still cope pretty well. So I'm backing them to do it again. But again, very close.
I think it's going to be tight. Like, I think behind top 4, I think 5th, 6th and 7th could be, again, quite tight. I think if Spurs keep Harry Kane, I think Nuno will probably do a good enough job to try and battle for that place.
I've been quite dismissive of Spurs. I don't know why. I think they're 7th. Anyway, sorry.
No. I mean, I also could see that happening, but I think it would be within a few points. I mean, your argument of Arsenal's maybe made me change my mind slightly on them in my head. I was before this, I was making bets that Aston Villa would be finishing above them. Yeah. Now that I come...
2 bets in the WhatsApp group.
3 bets, 1 me as well.
Yeah. No, George didn't take it. George didn't take it. Because I do
George wanted 100 quid.
Exactly. No, I do have some confidence. The thing is, I watched Arsenal in pre-seasons against Chelsea, and I really wasn't impressed. And comparing the two squads, Chelsea had hardly any of their first-team players, and a lot of Arsenal had a good majority of theirs. I'd say 70%, or maybe even 80% of who will be starting next week in the Premier League. So I do slightly worry for them. However, I would probably go for a Leicester 5th. and then Arsenal 6th.
Interesting. Actually, it's making me start to think a little bit more now, like as to whether I should put Leicester 5th, because I mean, a lot of people have raised Aubameyang's form as a cause of great concern, right? And he only got 10 league goals last season. I think that's as ineffectual as he's been across a full campaign since he was like an impact sub at Lille in 2009-10. But I mean, Jamie Vardy's form in the second half of last season was as alarming.
Incredible.
Yes, really bad. So they've both got a kind of...
But he actually picked up the slack a little bit. So.
He did. And maybe I'm, in my head, unfairly not expecting him to recreate that form. But even if he's not as good and just still sustains, half that output, great. But yeah, Vardy and Aubameyang have both got to come back from a steep decline in form. But yeah, Arsenal's defence was pretty good, wasn't it? They conceded 7 more goals than Man City.
David
Luiz
Luiz
addition really is a strong signing too.
David Luiz was quite important though in that back line.
He was, but I do think that Ben White, obviously he is gone for too much money. It's a classic English situation, similar to Harry Maguire. But that doesn't take away from the fact that I do think he's an upgrade on David Luiz, and playing alongside Gabriel, I think that's a nice little back two pairing, Gabriel and Ben White.
My worry is the experience side of it. These are two guys that are very, very inexperienced for Premier League football.
Tierney's a real leader on that left side, isn't he? He's a fantastic player.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, the right wing back is still going to be.
They've got Suarez. In Bellerin.
Hector Bellerin, the Arsenal fans are not happy with at the moment.
Yeah, and it looks like his kind of reputation, I don't know if it's unsalvageable with Arteta, but they've shopped him out to a lot of places, haven't they? They've tried to flog him to a lot of La Liga clubs who are struggling to pay the fee, maybe pay the wages. So yeah, maybe they need to sort that right-hand side out as well. But I think it was quite smart keeping Xhaka as well. I know Arsenal fans were keen to get rid of him, and then they saw those performances in the Euros and had a little bit of reticence about it. But the African Cup of Nations is in January, and if Thomas Partey's fit, if he's back, if he's like raring to go, then he's going to get taken from that starting 11, and they'll need that cover. So
and that'd be a big blow for Liverpool as well. The African Cup of Nations.
Well, I just realised Mendy will be gone.
Yeah. Ha! Kepa.
The
wheels are off from January onwards.
So we're not so Spurs with maybe 7th, 8th sort of area. I think Spurs are going to have a better season than people think, but I think Villa and Leeds are going to be in the hunt here as well.
I mean, if Spurs lose Harry Kane, then it could be rough. It could be really bad.
So our 5th were Leicester, Arsenal, and then the reverse of that.
Yes.
We think Arsenal, Leicester.
Yeah.
For 6th.
And then Tottenham 7th.
So 7th. You think Tottenham 7th?
See, this is where I'm even putting Aston Villa. Like, I know Aston Villa have just lost Jack Grealish, but I really like their business, man. I really like their business. Obviously, £100 million they've got for Jack Grealish, and with that, they've brought in Buendia for 35. They've just brought in Danny Ings for 25 million. Ollie Watkins can play left wing. Who's the other guy?
Bailey.
Leon Bailey as well, 30 million. They spent it really, really well, and I thought, I mean, the CEO came out over
that was class,
yesterday. Really, really good for him. Kind of explain the situation. I think a lot of Villa fans that may have felt frustrated after that video kind of felt, okay, it is a bit more understandable here. And I backed them. Slightly worried, maybe a little bit defensively with Tyrone Mings, but I think I can see them kind of doing well. I backed the manager to kind of get them in that place of maybe 7th, and as I said, maybe Arsenal and Villa swap round, and I come out of it with a bit of money.
All right.
So I'm going Tottenham 7th. You're going Villa.
Yeah, I'm going Tottenham.
Tottenham as well.
Yeah, Tottenham and Leeds pretty close in there as well, I think. Should we do relegation then? Who's going to get relegated?
That's the European.
This is
the
European
tough.
7 done.
Yeah, exactly.
Relegated then. All right, bottom of the league. Is anybody not going to say Watford?
Yeah, Watford.
Have the worst squad by far. I mean, we were this dismissive of Sheffield United about 3 years ago, and they finished 9th. But
and then what happened?
I can't see Isco making the same sort of impact at Premier League level as Wilder. Not quite as inventive, a little bit more traditional in that regard, I guess. And yeah, they've not made any great signings. I think Imran Luzar's their most noteworthy signing from Nantes for £9 million, and I don't know anything about him. So might be owing to lack of preparation. But yeah, I think dead set for bottom.
I think they do have the worst squad, but I think there are some incredibly poor teams in the Premier League this year. I think there could be some absolute spankings on the cards. I think we could see some 7s and 8-0s.
Who are you thinking?
I'm looking at here, Watford, I think awful.
Yeah.
Just ostensibly. I think Newcastle's squad is a rough place right now. I'm not as hot on Brentford as I think some people. I think Brentford might struggle. I think Burnley might struggle. Southampton look like they're in a bit of turmoil after the loss of Danny Ings. I think that Norwich.
Palace is a bit of a
They'll be
question
okay,
mark.
but
that definitely feeds into the larger point of, do you remember the summer after Leicester won the league in 15-16?
Yeah.
The big teams, I know it's a bit different because of the pandemic, but the big teams went hard in the window afterwards, as if they were avenging their poor form. And that's happened a little bit this time round as well. I don't think it's going to be as open. Yeah, I think the disparity between like bottom half, top half is going to be big, like you say. But Watford, I think are you going Watford as well?
I agree. Yeah, Watford. Yeah, Watford. We're going.
Who's your second bottom then?
It's tough. I think Newcastle could.
Yeah, that's my second bottom, Newcastle.
But also Southampton. I worry without Danny Ings. I really do. I think Southampton are rough. Essentially, within the next week, they could be playing with a completely different back four to what they ended the season with last year. I think their signing of Livramento from Chelsea is fantastic. I think he's a really good player. Semedo as well. But these are guys that have never experienced, or at least with Livramento. Livramento's never played professional in the senior game yet. He's been playing youth football, so I don't even know whether he'll be starting straight away. And so, as I said, then you've lost Danny Ings, who was kind of your only shining light and helping you at times last season.
Lost senior pro Ryan Bertrand as well.
Yeah,
to Leicester.
I look at them and I do worry. Obviously, James Ward-Prowse is their kind of now their star guy, but at the best of times, he's scoring free kicks.
They've got a couple of good players.
They need to have a strong next 2 weeks, though, don't they?
They need to be spending that Danny Ings money. I mean, £25 million isn't actually that much money to be spending on a player who's going to be trying to get you the goals to keep you up in the Premier League. So I do worry for them. I think maybe they might go down. Though I would like to be pleasantly surprised with them. I might be surprised.
I remember they were in for Joe Veerman from Heerenveen about a year ago, and apparently he's only going to cost £8-9 million. So if I was Southampton with that Danny Ings money, I'd go back in for someone who could be a really good feature of their midfield. I've gone for Norwich though, second bottom. So did you settle on Newcastle or Southampton?
Southampton.
Okay, I'm Newcastle. I think Newcastle have had a terrible summer. I think the club is in real turmoil off the pitch. I know there's chat about giving Steve Bruce a new 3-year contract at the moment as well.
Has Willock gone through?
Willock hasn't gone through.
Okay.
I mean, that was heavy rumours, wasn't it? And I just don't think they're going to pay £25 million for Joe Willock, to be honest with you. If Callum Wilson doesn't score 15 goals, then Newcastle will 100% get relegated.
Yeah, I've gone for Norwich just because they started the season, the off-season quite well. They signed Rashika, who we liked 2 years ago. Ben Gibson arrived. I don't know if he was on loan there last season. He arrived for 6-7 mil, didn't he? The centre half. I think he was at Middlesbrough actually last campaign. I don't know actually. I'm just making it up as I go along now. But then the dealing slowed right down, and I still think they're 3 or 4 players away from giving even survival a good go. And I know Farker's going to be better prepared this time round than last time. They're not going to sell Cantwell. That's pretty clear.
Yeah.
I love Aston Villa's fans' enthusiasm for signing their version, Norwich's version of Jack Grealish.
After already having signed Buendia as well.
I'm not thinking about the irony of that either, but that's football for you. It's all fun and games. But yeah, I can't see them boys in any way, shape or form finishing above 17. But I'm going to go second bottom, yeah.
Okay, who's third bottom then? This is a tight one, isn't it?
See, I think I go Newcastle here. I back Brentford and I back Norwich to stay up.
Okay.
I think, but with Brentford, I think it could go either way here. They could be in for a shock and really get pumped, or they could do some surprising
covered yourself for the we need to talk video. There,
exactly.
It could go either way.
But I think it's all about Ivan Toney, right? He scored so many goals from last season, and he is the man that will keep them up if they do stay up. If he gets an injury or something like that, good God, they're going to be in for a rough time. But he's the pivotal man that all goes through him. Oh yeah, Newcastle. Yeah, Newcastle. Yeah.
Okay, you've swayed me towards Norwich, but I'm going to stick with my gut and say Brentford. Brentford remind me a little bit of Norwich season 1 when they came up a couple of years ago, where they play some lovely football in the Championship. But can they afford to do that in the Premier League? And I know that Thomas Frank is definitely going to adapt that system. I think the signing of Christoph Ayer is really smart at the back. I just worry whether they've got the firepower, and I can see Ivan Toney getting man mark. Teams just keying on Ivan Toney and going, this is the key through here. So I'm going to go Brentford. So Watford, Newcastle, Brentford for me.
By the way, all of our postures are terrible. I was looking at that just then. I was practically curled over. I got a hump. I've gone for Burnley.
Oh.
They have
Burnley,
been.
you can't get rid of
They
Burnley.
always do it. They
They're
always
like
just
herpes,
about
mate.
make
They
it.
just, you can't get rid of them.
The Lancashire herpes. They've been rolling the dice for a long time. You're cracking up off screen. And they've only bought Nathan Collins in from Stoke in the off season. And like, if anything, if Chris Wood hadn't turned into like Drogba in the second half of last season, I don't even know if it was the second half to be honest, but I think he scored like 12 goals if memory serves me correctly. The next top goal scorer was like 4 or 5. So anything happens to him, they're screwed. They're a bit of a one-man band, aren't they?
But they've got Ben Mee and Tarkowski back. Like they missed Ben Mee for the first 3-4 months of the season, and
they were poor
when he came back, the defence was so much improved.
Yeah, and Dwight McNeil is a Premier League quality winger as well. So they've got some good, reliable components, but I mean they've been flirting with 15th, 16th for a couple of years now, and they're just not as like progressive in the market as even the teams coming up. It's just really easy. What I'm saying is to catch up with Burnley. Because there's no like, Sean Dyche, if he had hair, he'd be pulling it out, wouldn't he? But I'm going to go Burnley. I think it's finally time for them to return to the Championship on current form.
So you're going Watford, Norwich, Burnley?
Yeah.
So our relegation's quite different. Very different.
I actually think looking at Brentford's side, and they were top for a long time. I think they went up a 21 game unbeaten streak, didn't they, in the Championship before they had like a shitload of injuries. I looked at the core of Brentford's side. I don't know much about the keeper, but I like Pinnock and Ayer at centre half.
Yeah.
De Silva injured for a lot of last season. He's a really good player, rate him really highly. And Ivan Toney is when they got Mbuemu on one wing. I'm probably forgetting about a couple of other talented players. They've got, there's like I can't remember his name. But even that, like, instills me with more confidence than looking at Burnley. So we'll see.
But Burnley just do it. Like they're the reminder of what,
they're gonna survive.
Of what English football.
Oh yeah, I'm wrong.
Exactly.
I'm wrong.
You're wrong. Let's do the next one then. Overachievers.
Overachievers.
I want to see Leeds, but I think Leeds it would actually be expected now.
Yeah, is Leeds? Can we classify Leeds as an overachiever? I mean, if Leeds finish 7th, then it's an overachiever.
Massive, yeah.
So
So I think Leeds, there's a possibility of them doing that. It would be very reliant on Patrick Bamford, that's for sure. You hope as well with Rigo. Obviously, he was injured last year as well. He can come in and kind of, even though he was bought last year, have a good season too for them. As I said, Villa, I kind of put them in my thing. If they reach 7th place, I think they can overachieve, especially after just losing Jack Grealish as well. So yeah, I'd probably put those two forward.
Yeah, I think Leeds, to be honest with you, I think that's the best shout.
I think probably Aston Villa. I mean, you look at like Everton finished 10th last season. Everton, and we're talking about Champions League football up until like the final 2-3 months of the season. And even if they'd won, I think they lost to Man City 5-0 in the last match week. I think they won like 2 of their final 5 games. If they'd won 1 more of them, they would have like leapfrogged Arsenal. That's how tight it was in those positions last season. So I think even if Villa can finish like 8th, 9th, that is incredible progress.
Underachievers.
Everton. Bless them.
It's a good.
Just specialise in inertia, don't they? Just not moving forward. Rafa Benitez will do a solid job, but they've signed like what? Damari Gray, Andros Townsend. Like clearly this season is like a let's regroup.
Yeah.
Nothing special is happening.
I think it will be Southampton. I think to say Southampton, they're going to be in a heavy relegation scrap. Like a couple of years ago, they felt like a progressive team when Hasenhüttl came through the door. You were like, wow, can they go to this next level, be a European side? They're just going backwards now, and the loss of Danny Ings is so monumental for them. I think they will be in that relegation dogfight. So I think Southampton will be underachievers.
Yeah, I think I put Southampton in my relegation, so I'd say the same thing. I'm just trying to think if we've missed out anyone else. Brighton probably have a better season than they did last year.
Yeah.
Just thinking
I think if Brighton finished like 10th, that's a real.
That's a very
achievement.
that'd be brilliant. Especially obviously
and
how
I don't
it was
think that's
last
beyond
year.
the realms of possibility.
No, I think 12, 13 would be exceptional for them.
Yeah. West Ham. After what they had, after how well they did last year, I think they won't be doing as well as that year. So it will be an underachievement compared to what happened.
What makes you say that?
No Jesse Lingard.
Yeah, no Jesse Lingard. And
No
he came in and was fantastic. Antonio, as much as I like him, He'll prove me wrong. He'll go and score like 13
The fans are
goals,
raging,
something like
aren't
that.
they? The fans are absolutely
Yeah, they wanted
spitting.
investment. They wanted so much investment after obviously getting into Europe, and they're also going to be playing more games as well now. And if they pick up an injury to one or two of their players, like if Declan Rice got injured, obviously he's done his knee, didn't he?
Similar
towards the end of the
situation to
season.
Wolves, aren't they, when they went into the Europa League?
Yes, exactly. So with no investment, I do slightly worry for them.
They've signed Areola, who was exceptional last season.
That's a
I
great
think his
sign.
post-shot XG was something ridiculous,
really
like
good for
8.
them.
Meaning he kept out 8 more goals than the average goalkeeper would let in, or keep out even. But Fabianski was already pretty solid. So they've not he's a great signing, but they're not significantly upgraded the starting 11, have they?
And lack of outfield investment is just shocking. So it's not the worst shout. Breakthrough player.
Ooh.
Oh God.
Breakthrough player.
It's hard because
This is
how
a
do we
tough one
quantify breakthrough? Because
Exactly.
is it young? Is it?
Because if we're not saying
not.
young, I think Mason Greenwood is going to have an outrageous season this year.
I think he still qualifies.
If we're counting Mason Greenwood, I think Mason Greenwood will have huge impact for United. I think he's going to be United's second choice striker behind Cavani, and I don't think Cavani's going to play probably more than 20 games, starts in the Premier League. So I think Mason Greenwood getting serviced by Pogba, Bruno, Sancho, you're going to see a lot of goals from Mason this year.
I think the reason he still qualifies is because no one classifies him as a first team yet, do they?
Okay.
But he's definitely broke through. But if he finishes the season as a key component in United's forward line, you would say this was his breakout campaign. So I think that probably is a good answer.
I think Billy Gilmore's going to be fantastic for Norwich. Honestly,
shout.
I really do. I've backed him for a long time.
There's a load of Chelsea
such a
exits.
progressive.
Mark Guehi probably will be.
Yeah, it could be
Conor
very good at
Gallagher
Palace.
could be at Palace.
Yeah, I mean, we barely spoke about Palace and how they could be up or down, to be quite honest, depending on how Patrick Vieira does. But we've mentioned him a few times. But yeah, I'll go for Billy Gilmore. I'll back him. That'll be my shout. I think obviously Norwich. If your predictions there, and they'll be getting relegated.
I didn't have him on relegation.
You said Norwich, yeah. So maybe not so good in your season, but yeah, I think he's a guy that is a bit. He pushes forward from maybe a bit more than Skip does last year in the Championship. He's going to be playing a lot of games with him. He's essentially playing that role of Skip, and he's such a fun player to watch and so progressive with his thinking. Always thinking about the forward passes. If he can chip in with a few goals as well, I think he'll have a bit of a breakout year and then try and break into the Chelsea team the next season.
Class. Yeah, I'm still trying to think breakout. I mean,
Ivan Toney.
I've mentioned Harvey Elliott, I guess, as well. He could probably have an impact from the bench, but breakout would suggest that they're going to become a real prominent member of the first team, right? I think Ivan Toney contributed to 40 goals last season, doesn't he? Didn't he even? Maybe come back to me, but I think they're two good shouts.
Okay, let's have a look at top scorer then.
Oh,
For me, this is just a walk-in Romelu Lukaku. If Lukaku joins the league, he'll finish top goal scorer.
if Kane joins City, he'll finish top goal scorer. If Kane stays at Spurs, he'll probably still be very close to finishing top goal scorer. To be quite frank, that's just how Harry Kane is. He finishes every chance he gets. But Lukaku, yeah, I think there's a chance. I mean, the idea that we can.
Are
go
we
from-
allowed to say Lukaku though? Because let's not say Lukaku because he hasn't officially joined. Let's leave him to one side.
Okay.
Players that are officially at the club right now.
I will go with. Trying to think. Maybe Salah.
Yeah, you
Salah?
can never discount Salah.
Mohamed Salah always does well.
And also, if Harry Kane, if these rumblings continue and he misses 1 or 2 match weeks, that could actually have a big bearing for top goal scorer.
He'll probably
come
get
the end of the
injured as well.
season.
He's always getting injured for a couple of weeks too.
Yeah, I think Vardy's going to be off it. He's normally there.
Yeah.
Aubameyang might make a little bit of a comeback. I wouldn't put it beyond him.
Give it.
Aubameyang's not bad. No, but if Eddie Cavani's playing 20 games, he's not going to score
won't be fit
enough.
for it. I agree. I think Mo Salah.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think who else there is. I mean, not Timo Werner. I back Kai Havertz to have a fantastic year.
Well, we'll come on to Kai Havertz now, shall we? Are we all going to say basically Mo Salah then, unless Lukaku joins?
Yeah, Mo Salah.
Sure.
Okay then. Player of the year. Take it away.
Okay, so I for a while now I've been saying it's an outside shout. I get this after especially what happened, but I back Kai Havertz to win Player of the Year. I think the way he ended that.
Get on that, Joe.
Cheers. The way he ended the season for Chelsea was fantastic. It is it's so dependent now on if Lukaku joins, what position will he play. Obviously, Mason Mount's kind of got that right attacking mid-side on lockdown. Left is normally a bit more of a winger, so will he play in there? Will he maybe play as a 2 with Lukaku? God knows. But he ended the season so well. He was so good for Germany at the Euros. He's been brilliant in pre-season for Chelsea. he looks alive. Like he looks like the player that we bought and how he continued from his Bayer Leverkusen time. So I think if he's not player of the year, he'll at least have a very good season.
The reason I don't think he'll be player of the year is if Lukaku joins and top scores, he will take it, won't it? I'm going to go Jack Grealish. I think that signing is just. I think it's just. It's so scary, man. It's so scary. I think he's going to be outrageous at Manchester City, playing as a sort of creative double with Kevin De Bruyne. I dread to think how good he's going to be. He's going to be even better than he is at Villa, and he's already a contender for player of the year. So I'm going to go Jack Grealish as my player of the year.
If Kane joins Man City, it could quite easily be KDB. I could see him getting 308 assists in one season. I think the usual cast of players. I don't think it's going to be a Liverpool player. I think it is probably going to be limited to City or Chelsea, who I back to be like in that breakaway group at the top of the league. Bruno Fernandes his numbers are probably going to tumble a little bit. You'd expect that's only natural, no direct dig at him. So I think they're pretty sensible guesses. I'm going to go KDB then.
Okay, KDB, manager of the year.
Woof, Tuchel over the course of the season. Come on.
Goodness gracious. Well, I mean, if I'm backing Chelsea to win it, then I assume I'd have to say probably Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Pep Guardiola, I think.
Yeah.
It's so natural. If you see City's going to win it, then...
What did I say? No, I said Chelsea going to win the league if they get Lukaku, though.
Yeah.
So.
I said City, so our continuity is way off here.
Yeah,
but I mean, saying Pep Guardiola for manager of the season feels like a little bit of a cheat answer, doesn't it? You just... There's no... You're not putting anything on the line there.
Yeah, I know what you mean. No, if Chelsea get Lukaku and they do win the league, then it's going to be Tuchel.
Should we say, who could we see outside the top four being the most influential manager now?
Let's do that. It's much
better.
It's much better.
Cool.
It's an
interesting question, yeah.
Who's Villa's?
Can we...
Dean Smith.
Dean Smith, yeah.
Could we see any, Marcelo Bielsa, Dean Smith?
Yeah, I'll go with Dean Smith. I think he, especially after losing your star player and then, the way I'm projecting them to finish so highly up and kind of improve when you did last year, I think he'd have to be up there for sure.
Okay, so outside the top 5, I'm going to go Mikel Arteta.
Okay.
I think Mikel Arteta will improve that team yet again this year, especially going forward, because obviously much more solid at the back last season. So I think I'm going to go Mikel Arteta.
If Everton sell James Rodriguez or let him go because he wants to go now, Ancelotti's gone, doesn't it? Or they are the rumours anyway.
Yeah.
And Rafa Benitez does his... This is a guy who took that Newcastle side to 12, does his thing, and Everton creep inside the top 10, which I can... In a strange world, I can see happening. He would deserve huge plaudits.
Yeah.
So I think Rafa's a candidate as well. I'm going to go, despite being negative about Everton earlier, in our little subcategory, I'm going to go Rafa.
Ooh, okay. Do we want to bother doing quickfire questions? I feel like we've
I'm not the young player of the year.
How long have we been going for, Diggs?
44 minutes.
44 minutes. Better make him very quick.
Let's just run a young player of the year and then we'll just stack up quickfire.
Okay, fair enough.
Young player of the year.
He's
I mean,
under 23s in England.
Phil Foden's got to probably be up there.
Oh, shout.
If he gets better than he was last year, then he could be even up there for player of the
You've
year.
also a minute ago said Kai Havertz.
Kai Havertz,
does still fit into this definition.
Mason Mount will probably be there as well. With how well he... I mean, Mason Mount, every year I've watched him for Chelsea, gets better and better by tenfold. So if he gets better than his last season, the thing that he needs to start doing is scoring goals. He's probably, if he can get to the range of 8, maybe 9 or 10 this season, it'd be a fantastic year for him. So I could probably put him up there. I'm just trying to think of anyone
I'm going to
else.
go Mason Mount as well. I think Mason Mount, especially if Chelsea hit the ground running as well as we think they're going to, I think he'll be so influential.
Curtis Jones could possibly be there. Yeah, I'll go Phil Foden.
You could pick loads of United players as well. Like
Sancho
could come in
yeah.
and just be a blockbuster, couldn't he? And rip the league apart and do.
I'll go Jadon Sancho.
If he arrives in that form, then it can easily be Jadon Sancho.
Yeah, I'll go Jadon Sancho.
I don't think I've got a better answer than Mount or Sancho.
Yeah. All right. There we go. Okay. Do we want to do a personal question, or should we just wrap it up?
Go on.
Do
a personal.
Okay. Let's do a personal question, just because it is just 1 week before the season starts. It's a treat for you. This one was from Rafi fan. He says, favourite movie to watch when you're bored?
Well, we were talking about The American Office before we started.
Yeah, I wouldn't watch a movie from bored. I'd watch a series.
Yeah.
I've just about to finish Ted Lasso.
I've not watched an episode.
It looks cringe.
So it is So it is cringe. It's because it's made for an American audience, but it actually isn't as bad as I thought it would be.
Is it heartfelt like The Office?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I do enjoy
Some
good
nice
heartfelt.
moments in
The
there.
Office,
You are
American
softy,
Office
aren't you?
is.
The American
If
Office
I want to just go watch something, the American Office is what I'd put on. I love it so much, like someone would with Friends. I also have to share as well, if you've not watched it, say the morning show on Apple TV.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
unbelievable.
my God.
Unbelievable. No,
it's Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon.
and Steve Carell.
Steve Carell is what I'm thinking of.
That show is just outrageous.
Is it?
But it's not like a board show. That's
Yeah,
like
okay,
one of the best
So
TV shows
the
of the
Office
year.
for me is the
It's like
board
a serious show about like some serious shit.
Anything
Oh
on
my
Apple
God,
TV,
that
yeah.
Oh mate, you've got to watch the morning show. It is so good. It is outrageously good.
Stupidly good.
But I would say probably Friends more so than The Office for me. Just like put on the background, just Friends.
I also do, yeah. It's
Grow
quite
up.
easy.
I know when I used to have all the Friends videos like under my bed, like I'd wheel them out. I'd watch it when I was about 14. No, I reckon. Like, what have I been watching? I've been watching some good documentaries recently. Like something a little bit more challenging.
When you're bored though.
Yeah, I started watching like I just needed for it not to be football. Because I was like in my week off from Football Daily, I was reading football books and I thought this is getting stupid now. So I ended up watching Bobby Kennedy for President, and it might not be up your street, but like any history buffs, it's proper interesting, really good. And I think like we all know, like our generation knows of the Kennedys, but doesn't know about them, and it's just quite like enlightening.
This is the difference. Samuel's been watching that on his days off. I've been watching Outer Banks.
Oh,
God. It's cringe.
Isn't that like
American
Riverdale?
teen
Isn't that like
drama.
Riverdale?
Yeah, like
To be fair,
Riverdale.
I'd probably love it.
Yeah, listen,
I'd actually probably like
It's
it.
so like you.
Whatever puts you in the zone, it's all good. No judgment. No judgment here.
So good.
probably
But anyway, that's the end of today's episode of Sunday Vibes. Let us know your predictions in the comments below. Who's going to win the league? Who's going to finish top 4? Get relegated? Anything you want to plug, boys?
Snapchat, go over there, type in Football Daily, check us out. We bring you daily content on there as well.
Yesterday on EFD, I pitched myself against a supercomputer in Premier League predictions as well. So almost the same content, but slightly different,
Yes.
which you're probably familiar with by now. So
That is the absolute key, slightly different. Like we said at the start as well, thanks very much to Fan Team for sponsoring this episode. You can get involved by clicking the link in the description below, but you do have to be 18 plus and full terms and conditions do apply. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. See you later. Bye.